Hi everyone, we're group 2 and today we're going to be presenting you guys The Power of Queer, which is based off of the article that we read this week by Rain Dozier. And my name is Katarina. I am joined by Trevor, Matt, Gwen, and Calvin, and we hope to present to you guys some information about this week's topic. Before we present to you our lecture, we wanted to go ahead and show you some pre and post questions that we came up with. For our pre-questions, we have what is the focus on gender within sociological research? What is the concept of doing gender? What does it mean to be heteronormative? What is queering and queering motherhood? And then for our post questions, we have when it comes to sociological research about gender focuses, what is often the purpose of this work? Why is it that others interpret behaviors through the lens of gender? What are some heteronormative views of family life? And finally, what do families of same-sex parents destabilize?
Doing gender. What is the concept exactly? Well, the concept is very simply, in the simplest terms, is how one expresses their gender through norms in our daily life. So the longer definition is viewing gender as something created in interaction with others in performance for which we're held accountable. So this changes from where you are in everyday life. So it can vary from, you have your office, a construction site, work, home, all those other places. And another thing that plays a role in doing gender, quote unquote, is parents. Parents play a role in this by, for example, fathers, they don't let their sons play with Barbies because Barbies are not considered the normal toy for a boy at this age. Another example of parents playing a role is same-sex parents are looked at as a threat to heterosexual orientation, meaning people fear that same-sex parents could taint a straight person's orientation because that the person that is straight was raised by same-sex parents, and they fear that they can be tainted by that. So to answer one of our main questions, why is it that others interpret behaviors through the lens of gender? The reason is because we have tasks that are associated in maintaining a family that are gendered. And what I mean by that is you have those roles where the man is the one who is supposed to be, who does all the hard labor, and the women, they are the ones who do the cooking, the cleaning, and care for the children and play with them. So when you have a man who is playing with the kid and doing all that, they are perceived as generous and remarkable, while with women it is expected of them.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to heteronormative views of family life. So what does it mean to be heteronormative? It's the assumption and practices grounded in the belief that heterosexuality is a normal way of life, that an individual's sex, gender orientation, and gender roles always line up. So in a family setting, a heteronormative family is usually a nuclear family, so a mother and father and at least one kid, where the mother performs roles in line with stereotypically female gender roles, and the father performs roles in line with stereotypically male gender roles. So the mother will stay home and take care of the kids and cook and clean, and the father will go out to work and earn money. Another assumption when it comes to heteronormative families is the idea that the only real parents are the ones who are biologically connected to their children. The idea of heteronormative family life organizes social life, which leads to norms and expectations of how people should act based on their gender, and punishment when individuals and families do not comply.
Alrighty, party people. Now we're going to look into the purpose of gender-focused sociological research. Now, when it comes to sociological research about gender focuses, we want to know what is often the purpose of this work. And the purpose of this work is to compare and contrast the difference in gender norms, gender expectations, and double standards. It is also to trouble the waters and reconsider our assumptions on binary categories and their natural existences. And we want to know how they parallel with one another. In this case, we want to understand and transform gender family structures in that case. So heterosexual families don't have to be the norm. There are other family structures that can be welcomed. We also want to add understanding to the LGBTQ parents, so they can be tolerated to society. They can be, tolerated in communities that do not accept the LGBTQ. And it allows us to reconsider notions about mothering and families. So, it doesn't have to be the female mother that has to be the housewife. We also want to know what it means to be a man or a woman in a particular society. So, double standards and how gender affects interactions, social position, power, and life outcomes.
Now we're going to be talking about queering family and motherhood. So what does it mean to queer something? To queer something is to do it in a way that goes against traditional societal norms. So anybody who performs parenthood in a way that doesn't fit strict family roles is queering family roles. So this could include a single parent, same-sex parents, or parents who have adopted their children. So families with same-sex parents are inherently challenging norms of what a family, quote-unquote, should be. Even if they choose to parent or do their family life in a more heteronormative way by having one partner, quote-unquote, be the man and one partner, quote-unquote, be the woman, they're still inherently challenging what a family should look like according to heteronormative family rules.
All right, we hope that you were able to pick up some very valuable information from our lecture, and now we are moving on to our quiz segment. We have put together 8 quiz questions for all of you. Our first question is the concept of doing gender, and the option that fits with this is option B, views gender as something created in interaction with others and a performance for which we are all held accountable. Our second question is, why is it that others interpret behaviors through the lens of gender? Option C is the most fitting, which is tasks associated with maintaining the family are often generated. Our third question is a true or false question, and it is to queer something is to do it in a way that goes against traditional societal norms, which is A, true. We have another true and false question for our fourth question, which is a heteronormative family is usually a nuclear family where the father performs roles in line with the stereotypical male gender roles and the mother performs roles in the line with stereotypical female gender roles. And this statement is false, which is option B. Question 5, queering motherhood is, our answer is A, describing an act of mothering that is transgressive or deconstructs norms around mothering. Question 6, heteronormative views of family life organizes social life leading to. When you look at all of the options, our answer is D, because all of those apply. Question 7, what is the purpose of gender-focused sociological research? We also see that the option here is D, because all of the other options apply to this question. Lastly, we have question 8. Which one of these are considered a threat to heteronormative views of family life? Our answer to this is B. Son wears dresses and plays with Barbies and unicorns.
So now that we're moving on to the activities, please take a look at the images on the screen. Based on what we have discussed so far, we can now have an understanding of how gender is taught and enforced, not based on biological assumptions, but based on social norms. Look at the images below and match the image to the corresponding gender based on what is assumed in today's heteronormative society. Based on your own experience, think of some ways in which you yourself feel that you have been restricted or have been expected to act based on your perceived gender. Moving on to the next activity. Below are a series of true or false statements. For the statements that are false, correct those statements. Question number 1. There are no differences among children raised by heterosexual couples compared to same-sex couples. Number 2. Division of labor within a household is determined through biological factors, with women doing a majority of the childcare and housework due to the physical demands of breastfeeding and recovery from childbirth. Question number 3. The new normal within a homonormative society consists of individuals who are affluent, white, monogamous, and conventional in every way except for sexual orientation. Question 4. LGBTQ parents feel even more pressured to raise their children conforming to gender norms to justify their participation in parenting. Question 5. Children who have grown up witnessing disruptions to the gender binary system have not had any effect on their behavior. To look at the answers, question number 1, false. Studies have shown that there have been minor but significant differences among children raised by same-sex couples. Lesbian-headed families are more likely to foster connected, open relationships with their children and instill more pro-social behaviors. Adolescents of lesbian families have greater social and academic competence, fewer social problems and externalizing behaviors, and a greater sense of connection to their peers when compared to their counterparts with heterosexual parents. Question number 2, false. The unequal division of labor in families is not based on biology, but of behavioral expectations of gender and income discrepancies. Mothers have increasingly joined the workforce, yet still do most of the childcare and housework despite working full-time. Even among both types of couples, it was found the parent who had made more money was less likely to engage in menial housework. Question 3, true. Question 4, true. Question 5, false. One study found that men who had working mothers in early childhood spent more time on housework as adults relative to other men. Exposure to queer motherhood may result in children who are more aware of gender scripts and feel less accountable to gender.
We want to thank you for your time today, and we hope that you picked up some important points from our lecture. Once again, this is Group 2, and thank you guys so much for staying tuned. Bye!